Welcome to Scrum Masters Elite_UK. A place to share a growth mindset, discipline, and the spirit of never resting on past victories. Subscribe to the channel.
While many people often judge a sports team solely by its final achievements, what made me reflect deeply when analysing the story of England's women's rugby team, the Red Roses, was not simply the championship trophies or their long winning streak. What impressed me even more was the way they maintained their hunger and determination in circumstances where many other teams could easily fall into complacency after success. Behind 8 consecutive Six Nations titles lies not only technical excellence, but also a relentless growth mindset, a culture of healthy competition, adaptability in the face of change, and above all, the spirit of always starting again from zero. Through Ellie Kildunn's reflections, I could clearly feel the spirit of a truly great team. One statement stayed in my mind for a long time: you can't rest on success because every time you step onto the field, you have to start all over again. This is not only a philosophy in sports but also a very practical lesson in life. Many people, including myself at times, tend to become satisfied once we achieve something meaningful. We often think today's success guarantees tomorrow's results. But reality is completely different. Every new day brings a new challenge. Past achievements do not automatically secure future victories unless we continue striving forward. What makes the Red Roses special is that they fully understand this truth. Even as world champions and dominant figures in the Six Nations for many years, they still see themselves as a team under construction. That mindset is what makes a great team truly dangerous. They are not fighting merely to protect what they already have, but to discover new limits within themselves. This is something I find deeply inspiring, not only for athletes but for anyone pursuing a career or personal dream. I was especially struck by the fact that England had to deal with many squad difficulties. Key players such as Hannah Bottoman, Alex Matthews, and Morwenna Tulling faced long-term absences. Several others were also sidelined due to injuries. For many teams, this could become an excuse for decline. But the Red Roses turned adversity into opportunity. Young players were given chances. New faces stepped into the spotlight. The lineup kept changing, yet the system continued to function effectively.
That made me realize that a strong team is not one dependent on a few exceptional individuals, but one built on deep culture and shared belief. When a team continues winning despite missing key players, it proves their success is not temporary. It comes from a sustainable foundation built over many years. I believe this is a major lesson for myself as well. In life, we often depend too much on ideal conditions before daring to act. We think we need enough time, enough money, enough opportunities, or enough support before we can succeed. But reality shows that the strongest people are often those who know how to adapt when things are far from perfect. The Red Roses did not wait until they had their best possible squad before winning. They won amid shortages and constant change. Another thing I greatly admire is the players' attitude toward success. Ellie Kildunn said that England was not perfect throughout the tournament, yet they still became champions, and that excited them because they knew they could still improve. This is the mindset of truly outstanding people. They are not satisfied with results alone. They also focus on the process and constantly seek improvement. In today's society, we are often obsessed with visible achievements. People look at championships, medals, or winning streaks while forgetting the deeper value behind them, the spirit of continuous growth. Many people become complacent or lose motivation after achieving a certain level of success. But truly great teams always maintain the feeling that it's still not enough. Not because they're greedy or overly ambitious, but because they understand that growth is a journey without an endpoint.
I also reflected deeply on the role of coach John Mitchell. Through his comments, I sensed a very modern leadership mindset. He is not only focused on immediate results, but also on building a long-term cycle of development. This is incredibly important. Many teams or organizations succeed in the short term, but collapse quickly because they fail to prepare for the future. The Red Roses are different. They are winning while simultaneously rebuilding. They are protecting their current status while preparing for the 2029 World Cup. That reminds me of many fields beyond sports. A strong business does not only generate profits today, it also develops the next generation. A mature person does not think only about the present, but also prepares for their long-term future. If we focus solely on short-term victories, we risk losing the foundation for sustainable growth, I also deeply respect how the Red Roses do not see pressure as a burden but transform it into motivation. Being the number one team always means more scrutiny, higher expectations, and opponents studying you more carefully. But instead of avoiding pressure, they actively set even higher standards for themselves. That is far from easy. In life, many people fear expectations. Once we achieve success, we sometimes become afraid of failing the next time. But the Red Roses offer a different perspective. Pressure is also a sign that you are operating at a high level. The important thing is not to escape pressure, but to learn how to grow alongside it. Another aspect that made me think deeply is the impact of women's rugby development on the wider community. Some argue that England's dominance could make the competition unbalanced. However, reality shows the opposite. Audience numbers continue to rise. Stadium attendance records are being broken. Fan interest keeps growing. This proves that quality, competitiveness, and fighting spirit are what truly attract the public.
I was especially impressed by the image of more than 30,000 spectators attending women's rugby matches in Scotland and Ireland. This is more than just a statistic. It reflects a shift in social perception. For many years, women's sports did not receive equal respect or investment. But now, through quality performances and professionalism, female athletes are gradually changing those outdated views. To me, this is a powerful lesson about the value of persistence. Today's progress did not appear overnight. It is the result of many years of quiet effort from players, coaches, federations, and loyal supporters who stood by the sport even when it lacked widespread recognition. Aoife Wafer's comments also moved me in a very personal way. When she said that playing in front of more than 30,000 fans felt like a dream come true, I could sense the genuine pride and happiness of an athlete. It was a reminder that sports are not only about winning or losing. They are also about inspiring people, connecting communities, and proving that dreams that once seemed distant can become reality through persistence. From this story, I draw many lessons for myself. The first lesson is never to rest on success. No matter what we achieve, we must continue learning and growing every day. Success is not the finish line, it is the beginning of greater challenges ahead. The second lesson is the importance of adapting to change. Life will always bring unexpected difficulties, failure, pressure, loss, or difficult periods. But instead of focusing only on what we lack, we must learn to use what we already have to keep moving forward. The third lesson is the value of teamwork. A talented individual may create a difference for a moment, but only a strong system can create lasting success. The Red Roses succeed not because of a few stars, but because of the culture shared by the entire team.
The fourth lesson is the spirit of continuous improvement. Truly exceptional people rarely become complacent. They constantly seek to improve themselves even while winning. This is difficult, but incredibly valuable. For fans, the Red Roses story also carries many positive meanings. It reminds us that sports are not only about the final score. What deserves admiration even more is the dedication, professionalism, and resilience athletes show in overcoming challenges. Fans should learn to appreciate sports more deeply rather than only celebrating victories or criticizing defeats. For society, the growth of women's rugby shows that when women receive proper investment, opportunities, and respect, they are fully capable of creating extraordinary value equal to anyone else. This is not only a sports story but also a story about equality, opportunity, and positive social change. I believe the most valuable thing about the Red Roses is not simply their 38-match winning streak or 8 consecutive championships. What matters even more is the message they send about constantly moving forward. They show that the top is not a place to rest, it is the starting point for even greater challenges. Perhaps that is why their journey never feels boring despite the constant victories. On the contrary, it creates curiosity. Where is this team's limit? How far can they still go? And more importantly, can other national teams learn from them to help elevate women's rugby worldwide?
Looking more broadly, I believe the Red Roses story reflects a very important truth about life. Sustainable success is always built on discipline, a willingness to learn, and the ability to continuously innovate. No victory lasts forever without effort behind it. After reflecting on this entire story, the emotion that remains with me is not only admiration for a powerful team, but also deep respect for their work ethic and relentless desire to grow. It is the kind of success that makes people not only want to cheer for them, but also want to learn from them, and perhaps this is the greatest value that sports can bring to society, not only creating champions on the field, but also inspiring ordinary people to become better, stronger, and brave enough to pursue greater goals in their own lives.
Thank you for being part of Scrum Masters Elite _ UK. Never rest on your success. Every day is a brand new beginning.